Hello students, welcome to IIEBM's Marketing Foundation course, lecture number 8. Today's agenda would be BCG matrix, which stands for Boston Consulting Group's model or matrix. So, in the previous discussion, in the previous class, we had talked about marketing mix. Marketing mix comprises the 4 P's, that is product, price, place, and promotion. And how does an organization or how does a firm blend all these 4 components and try to communicate with the target market so as to maximize their returns as far as the offering is concerned. Now, product mix therefore is a strategic decision. Product mix decision is a very strategic decision. What offerings or what components should you offer to the market for their consideration? So this is very similar to or very akin to your career decisions, if you can think of it as an analogy. A person tries to offer himself or herself in the labor market based on certain skills that he brings to the market. Now, the market may have a dire need for those skills, or they may not have such a dire need for those skills. Okay, so like for example, in the 1980s and 1990s, there was a rush for engineering careers in our country. And at that time, if somebody in the 1980, 85, 90, if somebody was a pass out from a very good engineering college in India, and there were a lot of manufacturing opportunities, engineering jobs available in the campus placements. So, and if that person had done very well in his engineering college, and the market was also rewarding an engineering career, that means both in terms of the growth rates. Okay, so the possible growth rates of engineering as a career and the person's share in amongst other engineers, both of these are extremely valuable. So over the next 10-20 years, that person is likely to flourish in his career. However, if a person thinks of doing an engineering course today, wherein most of the manufacturing job have gone to China and many engineering colleges seats are lying vacant, in this particular scenario, the growth prospects of engineering as a career is not very high. So even if you do very well in your engineering college and you stand top of the class, in that case also, because the growth opportunities are not very high, but you have done very well in engineering, so there is going to be a limited success, right? So as far as so today, if a person is in his 8th standard, 9th standard, 10th standard, and along with the parents, the child is thinking of what career should I go for? That means what should be my offering to the market, employment market as such. Let's say comparing engineering with another career, let's say nursing. Now, because of the aging population, people are living longer. People are uh, after retirement, they are again living for another 30-40 years in a reasonably healthy way if they are able to maintain their lifestyle. But there's going to be a lot of care required at an elderly age if the children are not staying with their elderly parents. So nursing as a career or a profession is a very high demand career. So possibly the growth prospects might be very high. And if a person has uh, attended a nursing school and she has done very well in her career, that means both in terms of market share and in terms of growth prospects, that career is going to be a very lucrative career. But a person attends nursing school, which is a very high growth career, but does not do well in the course, then again the person might be in the right high growth field but might not have a very good prospect because compared to the competitors. So when it comes to product mix decisions, whether it is an individual who is thinking about the what kind of skills I should basically offer to the employment market, or whether it is an organization. Similarly, an organization also does a lot of strategic planning. They look at the macro environment, they look at the pestle factors, they see what kind of trends are operating in the market over the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, what kind of consumer trends are likely to emerge. Based on that, can I really change my product portfolio, etc., yeah, product mix. So essentially, it's a strategic decision for all organizations, and it is also connected to competitive advantage. Okay, so my product, if it is better than the competitor's product, or I stand first in the class in a nursing school compared to my other students who have also enrolled for nursing, so basically I stand out, so I have a competitive advantage in the employment market. So there are two aspects to our discussion today. One is, of course, the uh, a firm looks at the growth prospects of a particular field, and a firm also looks at the market share that it has vis-a-vis competitors in that particular arena. So using both of these, we are going to discuss what is known as a BCG matrix. But essentially, to understand how BCG matrix becomes important in the context of marketing, we are trying to proceed in a logical manner. We are trying to build our thoughts in a logical manner. So we are referring to our previous discussion in marketing mix. A subset of the discussion was product mix. In product mix, we have basically talked about the uh, what should be our product line. Should it be consistent? Should it be inconsistent? To take advantage of the risks that are involved in terms of the business cycle, etc. So most firms, what they do is they deal with multiple products. Okay, in order to hedge their risks. Okay, they deal with multiple products. We see many schools these days. Okay, they run pharmacy colleges, that is for higher education. They run BBA colleges. They also run a school also, like primary school, secondary school. In fact, some of them start with nursery. So it is often said that KG to PG institutions. Okay, so अगर हायर एजुकेशन इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज नहीं चलता है या फार्मेसी नहीं चलता है तो केजी तो चलेगा, right? So they will be able to hedge their bets. But ultimately, the product line is education. Now, हो सकता है कि apart from education, that particular firm has an interest in some other field also. Let's say trading in agricultural commodities, or transportation business, or running some kind of hotel. Okay, so अगर hotel भी है आपका, अगर आपका travel का firm भी है, आपका transportation का firm भी है, आपका educational institution भी है, तो आपका फैला हुआ कारोबार है. So essentially, most firms, in order to hedge the risks in the market, they deal with multiple products. It helps them to diffuse risks. Okay. It also enables them to appeal to a larger group of customers or cater to different needs of the same customer. तो अगर एक ही कस्टमर है मेरा, अगर सपोज वो कस्टमर सपोज he is part of my the child is part of my school, but the parent of that particular child might also possibly require, let's say, some kind of singing or dancing classes. So possibly if they are also running some kind of creative outlet, okay, या painting studio वो लोग run कर रहे हैं और hobby classes के लिए भी उनका कुछ interest है, so that they can refer to those children who want to make a career in painting or art, and if they are running some kind of venture like that. So essentially, सेम कस्टमर के अलग अलग नीड्स को केटर करने के लिए या अलग अलग कस्टमर्स के नीड्स को केटर करने के लिए you might want to have a more diversified appeal in terms of your product. So you see a few logos out here. So you see Hyundai, Daewoo, etc. Daewoo, Kia Motors. These are essentially Korean majors. Okay, like a company like Hyundai or a company like Daewoo are part of what is known as chaebols. Chaebols. Chaebols are conglomerates in Korea, which have interests in a variety of things, right? From shipping to transportation to trading to retailing to making automobiles and so on and so forth. So LG, Samsung, Daewoo, Hyundai, these are called as chaebols. So they have interests in a variety of products. In the Indian context, you have Tatas, Birlas. Birlas will have interest in cement. They will also have interest in software. They will have interest in FMCG. They will have interest in real estate. They will have interest in chemicals, etc. Similarly, Tatas. So फैला हुआ कारोबार है. In Japan, you have the Zaibatsus. Zaibatsu in Japan is analogous to what we have in Korea as chaebols. So Mitsui, Panasonic, Sony. So Sony would have interest in a variety of fields, including electronics. So essentially, companies, once they develop core competence in management, core competence in supply chain, they want to service different types of needs and wants of consumers, and that has been a reality. They would not like to leave open the market for some new entrant. So essentially, big players, once they have a going concern, a lot of cash is coming from some business, they would like to use that cash and they would like to take over a smaller concern in another field so as to not give an entry to another player, a new entrant. So इसको बोलते हैं हम लोग barriers to entry. We'll talk about all these things in the next class in Porter's five forces model, right? But as far as today's discussion is concerned, suffice it to say that most companies, let's say this is GE ka logo, General Electric. In fact, the legendary Jack Welch, when he was at the helm of affairs in General Electric in the 1990s, at that time, General Electric was Fortune 500 number one company at one point of time, and it had interests in almost more than 10 strategic business units. General Electric was number one in the world in terms of market share. So these are legendary companies which have been able to display competitive advantages in so many different strategic business units that they have been market leaders globally in all of those. Okay. So obviously, when we say firms deal with multiple products, we have tried to understand the rationale as to why they deal in multiple products, essentially to hedge the risks. So that is basically what product mix and the breadth and depth of product mix implies. So when we talk about breadth of a product mix, it essentially means that there are a number of product lines marketed by a firm. Taking the example of Samsung. Samsung has interest in white goods, which is television, refrigerators, washing machines, etc. It has interest in electronics, so we have cell phones manufacturer. They have interest in variety of other product lines also. So it's a typical chaebol. It's a typical Korean chaebol. Similarly, Hyundai, similarly LG, similarly other aspects. So breadth means having a number of product lines, and depth means a number of product items within a particular product line. Like for example, within, let's say, the white goods category में अगर refrigerator को अगर एक product line की तरह consider करते हैं, तो within refrigerator they will have a number of models. Okay, it's not going to be like what Henry Ford had, take any car as long as it is black. एक ही Model T बनाया और एक ही कार खरीदना है तो खरीदो और हमारे पास कोई मॉडल नहीं है. Ideally, अगर एक ही मॉडल हो तो आपका टूलिंग कॉस्ट, आपका असेंबली लाइन का कॉस्ट, प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट आपका काफी बच जाता है. बट if you want to have different models in different colors, different variants, different specifications, etc., then each of these would warrant a separate production line, a separate assembly line, and a separate kind of tooling, etc., which will essentially increase cost. But the idea is when a person likes a particular model of Samsung, say he likes this particular model of Samsung, but he does not like such a dark color. Then he asks that मुझे इसी मॉडल के अंदर दूसरा कलर चाहिए. So if the company has not made provisions in its product design to make a different variant or a different color variant in this particular item, then obviously it will not be able to get the business of the consumer. So basically हम लोग बोलते हैं SKU, okay, stock keeping unit. So how many stock keeping units do you have? Each of the variations or each of the stock keeping unit basically entails a cost. जितना ज़्यादा आपका फैला हुआ होगा, so both breadth and depth. Okay, so market leaders or people who want to dominate the entire, they want to have a coverage of the entire market. They try to prevent the entry of new variants. You don't want somebody basically snapping at your market share. So for preventing that, what they do is they try to create an entry barrier by having full market coverage. However, having an entry barrier, full market coverage, it will entail a lot of inventory costs. That means a lot of money will be locked up in inventory. A lot of money will be locked up in terms of credit facilities to vendors. A lot of money will be locked up in terms of the marketing and marketing costs that you have to put in managing each of the products, and so on and so forth. So it is, once you have decided to commit to this breadth and this depth of product, therefore it will be a high stakes game. In the previous class, we had also touched upon a concept known as consistency of product mix. So if you take a look at, let's say, the business group Haldirams, which is obviously in the food category, and it caters to a lot of festivals of India. So Diwali ke time pe they will have special types of festivals that people consume during Diwali. In a particular region, if there is a particular festival, let's say in Orissa, if there is a particular festival, they might possibly want to push some products that are consumed, especially during the Rath Yatra in Orissa, and so on and so forth. So essentially, they are catering to uh, that particular category, which we can say as snacks or food or foodstuffs. Okay, snacking category. So you don't find a Haldiram selling, let's say, cars, or a Haldiram selling stationery items, or a Haldiram selling clothes, etc. In future, suppose it has a lot of accrued cash, but it does not want to associate the same brand name Haldiram with, let's say, a clothing brand. They might want to name it differently and not associate Haldiram with that. That would basically amount to brand extension, but without using the parent name. Okay. Tata, on the other hand, is again a conglomerate which has interests in terms of steel, it has interest in terms of mutual fund, it has interest in terms of cable network, it has interest in terms of telecom, it has interest in terms of producing trucks and cars and so on, and insurance, etc. So obviously, this is a company which favors diversity in its product mix. Okay, but बहुत ज़्यादा unrelated diversification होने से क्या हो जाता है? It becomes very difficult to manage the monolith that you have. For instance, we saw during the historical times, emperor अगर बहुत ज़्यादा empire बना दिया, तो दिल्ली से बैठ के he is not able to control what is happening in Bijapur, or what is happening in Gujarat, or what is happening in Bengal, and what's happening in other parts of the country, and therefore the kingdom starts disintegrating. So it's a choice कि कितना ज़्यादा diversified करना है या कितना closely held या consistent आपको product mix रखना है. And management techniques, management quality, competence, skills, these are also and experience in the market, experience in understanding the supply chain, okay, risk taking ability. All of these factors are things that affect product mix decisions. So, what are product mix decisions? With the passage of time, with uh, the way the market is moving, a company cannot afford to remain static. So what it was offering, take any car as long as it is black. For example, 1970s or 1980s, if you look at Colgate, they might have been selling possibly a few variants, one or two variants. They would not have possibly the striped wala, जो ट्यूब आपने ओपन किया तो टूथपेस्ट मतलब एक रंग बिरंगी टूथपेस्ट निकल रहा है, रेड कलर का निकल रहा है, व्हाइट एंड रेड निकल रहा है, ब्लू निकल रहा है. So these were not variants that were there in the Colgate's portfolio when maybe in 70s or 80s, possibly because the competition was not that much. Okay, so possibly only Binaka was there, Colgate was there, and possibly one or two brands were there, Dabur, etc. was there, Bubble was there. But now with the explosion of so many different kind of brands, let's say uh, uh, Patanjali is coming up with, let's say, Ayurvedic kind of thing, and with the market also believing that the neem Datun wala users are going for a Ayurvedic brand of toothpaste. So company like Colgate also has had to add possibly the brand, let's say Ved Shakti and others, to compete with that. Because if it does not add that particular item in its product line, then it might lose the market share in that particular category. Okay. Similarly, you have salt. So Indians, many Indians have a habit that नमक के साथ दातुन करते हैं. So क्या आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक है was a ad campaign in which leading actresses had participated. Similarly, they have used brand ambassadors, as you can see both in these ads. You have seen brand ambassadors का use करना. So product line का addition, deletion, कभी कभी abandonment. In 2004-5, for example, the Bajaj Chetak brand, which was a flagship brand from 1972 in the Bajaj stable, so much so that people used to make a booking in advance and they had to wait for years together to get a delivery of that because they had to pay in advance. So Bajaj had that much command in the market, in the sellers market context, that they could demand to the customers that अगर आपको बजाज का चेतक का ब्रांड चाहिए, स्कूटर चाहिए, तो आपको एडवांस में पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा. But with liberalization and with leading players like Activa, etc., coming in, scooters gave way to Bajaj. It took their attention away from scooters because they possibly thought that they will not be able to compete with a Honda or an Activa, etc. And they decided to abandon the product, the scooters wala product line completely. So Bajaj Super, Bajaj Priya, Bajaj Chetak, the entire scooter line was abandoned. 2005 से 2014 तक Bajaj Chetak was a dead brand. It was completely abandoned. 2014-15 में again it has made a comeback but it does not choose to use the Bajaj part of it. It only tries to foreground the Chetak part of it, and it is now trying to compete in the electric segment. So it is completely redesigning itself and trying to compete with a completely different category, not with the scooter wala category, but in the electric wala category. So if you see the very interesting product line, in fact, the journey of Chetak, if you study as a student of marketing, it's almost a journey of the way the business environment in India has moved. It's a allegory, or it's a metaphor for the uh, uh, changes that have happened in the Indian business environment. So in the 70s and 80s, it was hoarding time for Indian businesses, where they could curb the supply and they could get highest prices for the product if it was a good product. But post liberalization, companies like Bajaj were very vocal that level playing field हमको नहीं मिल रहा है with foreign competition that is coming in, and they had to completely restructure their business portfolio. They had to sell off certain business units. They had to merge with certain other players and enter into joint ventures, or completely abandon or sell it off. Like Modi Tires had to sell off their business to in Meerut. Okay, because leading players like Michelin and Bridgestone के साथ compete नहीं कर पाएंगे. So Bajaj had to go through that phase also. So, and post liberalization, 10-20 years post liberalization, they've had to understand that, well, the rules of the game are this, and we cannot really think of a 60%, 70% market share in each of the product lines. And therefore, if I have to focus all my attention on this particular product line, because say Pulsar, I'm trying to make Pulsar as number one category when competing against other bike brands. But I will possibly not be able to do it in the scooter segment, and therefore I take a strategic decision to completely kill that particular product line. So all of these aspects, so it's the journey of Chetak has been the journey of corporate India, so to speak, okay, or a metaphor for how to understand the evolution of the Indian business environment over the years. So many a times product modification करते हैं, नया सर्फ, नया रिन, ओके ओके, इसमें तो ये है, इसमें वो है, तो क्या आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक है, क्या आपके फ्रिज में पफ है. So all of these concepts are basically used in the communication to make an impression on the consumer's mind that, see, we are changing with the changing times, and we are not getting outmoded. So, which brings us to having to examine our product portfolio. Portfolio is basically all the products that I have in my product mix at this given juncture. So, as of today, possibly Procter and Gamble worldwide would have hundreds of products in its product portfolio. When it comes to a particular kind of product portfolio, let's say washing powders and soaps, okay, washing soaps, uske andar, let's say you might have say 20-30 brands. Some might be sold in USA and Brazil and in South Africa. Some might be sold in USA, Brazil, South Africa and India. Some might be sold in Southeast Asia and not in other parts of the world. So कौन से पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड में क्या रीजन से आपको कौन से प्रोडक्ट्स को बेचना है, कौन सा नहीं बेचना है, पोर्टफोलियो में रखना है. जैसे एज अ इन्वेस्टर हु इज इन्वेस्टिंग इन द स्टॉक मार्केट, व्हाट शुड बी माय पोर्टफोलियो. तो मेरे पास स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का शेयर है, रिलायंस का शेयर है, मेरे पास टाटा स्टील का शेयर है, मेरे पास सन फार्मा का शेयर है. तो अगर सपोज मुझे लगता है कि स्टील इंडस्ट्री खराब कर रहा है, तो मैं टाटा स्टील का शेयर बेच दूंगा और फार्मा का एक और शेयर खरीद लूंगा, सिप्ला का शेयर खरीद लूंगा. So I will try to change my portfolio as a stock market investor. Similarly, in terms of a person who's going into the market to sell his employability skills, he will also foreground certain skills for certain jobs. So if that particular job requires a lot of extensive traveling, that person will say that, see, I have been such a physically fit person, I have played football, I have played this thing. So you will foreground certain aspects of your personality in order to gain advantage. So essentially, which part of your portfolio would you like to keep, or which part of your portfolio would you like to divest? If you decide to keep a particular aspect of your product portfolio, then you might also have to devote resources to it, and sometimes it might require limitless resources because it is in the certain stage of the growth stage possibly, where अगर आपने बढ़ते हुए बच्चे को अगर आपने खुराक नहीं दिया तो फिर कोई फायदा नहीं है, बाद में खुराक देके कोई फायदा नहीं है. So that kind of thing. So portfolio analysis के लिए we use various types of things. One is, of course, we use what is known as a PLC analysis, product life cycle analysis. So हर एक product usually जैसे बजाज चेतक 1972 में जन्म हुआ, 72 से 83 मिड 80s तक का उसका amazing growth story था. In fact, people used to wait for 5 years, 10 years to get a delivery of a Chetak scooter. They used to pay in terms of dollars also to do an advance booking. Owning a Chetak was a prestige issue. Having said that, post liberalization possibly maturity stage aa gaya because too many players aa gaye, and then of course decline stage. So if you look at 1972 से लेके 2004 का बजाज चेतक का journey, so from introduction stage to growth stage to maturity stage to decline stage, it has been an eventful 40 odd years. Okay, so obviously 30 odd years, and अगेन 10 years का उन्होंने ब्रेक लिया और फिर वापस वो रिजरेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, सो री इन्वेंटिंग द प्रोडक्ट एंड अगेन इंट्रोडक्शन स्टेज यूजिंग पोजिशनिंग इट इन अ डिफरेंट कैटेगरी. उसको नाम सेम रखा चेतक, लेकिन एक इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल के कैटेगरी के अंदर टेस्ला के साथ या बाकी लोगों के साथ हाइब्रिड व्हीकल्स के साथ वो कम्पीट करने की कोशिश कर रहा है. सिमिलरली इफ यू सी Maruti Zen, basically 1997, the Zen model was launched or introduced, and for 10 years they did run this particular model, and they decided that it was now time to reinvent it in a different style. So they introduced what is known as Maruti Estilo with a taller body in 2007. So one can see that whether it is product life cycle analysis, PLC analysis, or whether it is BCG model analysis, which we are going to discuss in today's session, both of these are basically techniques for analyzing market scenarios. Okay, so various market scenarios आपको analyze करना है. So it's a strategic tool, marketing strategy tool, and to arrive at strategic decisions concerning product mix. So essentially, strategy can be defined as what should I be doing today based on what I think my competitor is going to do hence in the future, and what else the market is going to look like in the future. So BCG model is one of these tools that helps us to understand or conduct these kind of market scenario analysis. Obviously, one of the assumptions for applying the BCG model is so named because it was a concept that was introduced by Boston Consulting Group, which is one of the leading consultancy firms in the world. The assumption was that products have to be treated as strategic business units or SBUs. So what exactly is an SBU? Let's see. An SBU is a separate or a distinct entity in the business which should have a clear, well-defined, identifiable competitor, and it can be planned separately from the rest of the firm, and it has an independent manager responsible for sales, profits, etc. So basically it is an independent unit, so which is responsible for its own upkeep, so to speak. So you can't have a strategic business unit which for its day-to-day running और डे टू डे बजट के लिए या डे टू डे अर्निंग्स के लिए it depends on some other product. Okay, so it has to be given a separate team with separate resources, okay, and a separate all the functional areas of that particular business unit are going to be separate from others. So these are some of the characteristics of a strategic business unit. Okay, so उसका खुद का gross profit and net profit basically accounts के अंदर calculate किया जाएगा, and no advantage is going to be gained by this SBU because of some other SBU's performance. Essentially, that is what it is. So once you treat each of the items as strategic business units, then these components are the units of analysis. So what exactly are the components? What does the BCG matrix do? It is essentially, as I said earlier, it is designed to help with long-term strategic planning. Okay, so this is a crucial word, long-term strategic planning. It helps a business to consider growth opportunities by reviewing its portfolio of products. So essentially, it's a portfolio analysis tool. It's a portfolio analysis tool, and it enables the company to decide where to invest, whether to invest or disinvest, whether to discontinue or to develop the products. If I have to develop the products, then I'll have to put resources into that particular product. If I discontinue the product, then those resources can be taken and put into some other thing. So decisions on strategic business unit, for example, if the Tata has decided to divest its FMCG unit, that is Hamam soap and Lakme, etc., to Hindustan Unilever Limited, if they sold off in the early 1990s, then that money that they have got from that project, they can put into, say, Tata Consultancy Services or Tata Motors, which they have decided to continue with. So obviously, one decision will impact on the other decision. Decision about one SBU will have an impact on the another SBU, which is of the same firm. There are two parameters using which we conduct this analysis. One is called as a market growth rate, and the other is known as the relative market share. So जो पर्टिकुलर मार्केट है, सो इफ सपोज फार्मा इंडस्ट्री की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग, तो फार्मा इंडस्ट्री का मार्केट ग्रोथ रेट कितना है? 10% पर एनम है, 15% पर एनम है, प्रोजेक्टेड मार्केट ग्रोथ रेट कितना है? दैट इज व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. सो टुडे इन 2020 फॉर एग्जांपल फार्मास्यूटिकल सेक्टर का इतना ग्रोथ रेट है 19 to 20, 20 to 21 कितना प्रोजेक्टेड ग्रोथ रेट है, 21 to 22 कितना प्रोजेक्टेड ग्रोथ रेट है. सो बेसिकली द प्रोजेक्टेड मार्केट ग्रोथ रेट पर एनम is one of the components that we put on one of the axes. On the other axis, we basically put the relative market share of my firm vis-a-vis other competitors. So if suppose I am Cipla and I am competing with Glaxo and Sun Pharma and Mankind Pharma for that particular medicine ka share in the market. So suppose as Cipla I have, let's say, 20% market share, Mankind Pharma has 15% market share, Glaxo has suppose 30% market share, some other company Aurobindo Pharma has say 10% market share, and so on and so forth. So basically market share is basically what ultimately what is the size of the pie that I basically account for. केक का कितना टुकड़ा मैं खाता हूँ या मेरा फर्म खाता है. So एक साइड में होता है रिलेटिव मार्केट शेयर विच बेसिकली शोज की हाउ गुड आई एम vis-a-vis the rest of the competitors, and the other shows how healthy this particular sector or this particular industry is likely to be in the future. So इन दोनों को यूज करके there are each of these there are low and high. Now again this is relative. Okay, so suppose if you consider 15% of market growth rate as well moderate, then less than 15% would be low and more than 15% would be high. So that is up to the promoters of the company as to what they consider as a high rate of return and what they consider as a low rate of return on their money. As far as relative market share is concerned, suppose you consider that 25% से कम होने से मैं उसको लो कंसिडर करूंगा एंड 25% से ज्यादा होने से मैं उसको हाई कंसिडर करूंगा. तो इस पैरामीटर के बेसिस पर यू लुक एट ऑल द एग्जिस्टिंग प्रोडक्ट्स इन योर पोर्टफोलियो. You look at all the existing products in your portfolio. So let's say if you are looking at Coca-Cola, so suppose you feel that, well, Thumbs Up is here, and suppose you feel that Coke is here, suppose you feel that, say, Minute Maid is here, okay, and so on and so forth. So your decision as to whether Minute Maid को हम लोग को आगे लेके जाना है, नहीं लेके जाना है, these are the kind of decisions that I do or take based on this particular matrix. So we identified based on whether the market share is low or high and whether the market growth rate is low or high. We have 4 different components of the matrix. So 4 अलग-अलग चीजें हम analyze करते हैं. One of them is stars. So star is nothing but high market share in a high growth rate industry. The market growth rate is also very high and my product also occupies a very high market share compared to the competitors. So suppose it's Coca-Cola ka Thumbs Up. So in the aerated drink segment, vis-a-vis Pepsi, vis-a-vis Coca-Cola, vis-a-vis this thing, suppose Thumbs Up occupies the lion's share in the market. And it is also a very growing market. Okay, so market growth rate भी high है और मेरा relative market share भी high है. So possibly if Coca-Cola India is doing a portfolio analysis, they would put Thumbs Up over here. Let's say, for example, cash cows are high market share but low growth rate. So the growth rate of the industry is low. The industry is not growing very high, but I have a very high market share in that. So suppose people are not buying too many houses because of the depression in the market. So growth rate of the real estate sector is low, but I occupy a very high market share in a particular city. Let's say most of the other real estate players, they have say 70% share put together, but I have 30% market share and the remaining 20 players have got the remaining 70% market share. So in that case, that particular business in my portfolio or that particular strategic business unit would be a cash cow. Okay. A question mark is an item or items which have low market share. मेरा market share बहुत कम है, लेकिन the growth rate is high. It is in the growing sector. Maybe एक sunrise sector में है जहाँ पे काफी growth rate high होने के chances है, say artificial intelligence etc. But suppose या streaming platforms जहाँ पे Netflix का, Amazon का बहुत high share है, Microsoft का कम share है, लेकिन मेरा मार्केट शेयर कम है एज माइक्रोसॉफ्ट इसमें, लेकिन ये हाई ग्रोथ रेट इंडस्ट्री है. एंड डॉग्स आर दोस आइटम्स व्हिच हैव लो मार्केट शेयर इन अ लो ग्रोथ रेट सेक्टर. सो लॉजिकल ये होगा कि डॉग वुड बी बेसिकली हमारा मार्केट शेयर भी कम है ऐसे इंडस्ट्री के अंदर जो ग्रोथ होने का भी चांसेस कम है. ओके, सो द लॉजिकल दिस थिंग वुड बी वेल डॉग को डिसइन्वेस्ट करना या डाइवेस्ट करना अच्छा हो सकता है. सो लेट्स सी वन बाय वन थोड़ा सा और एलैबोरेट करते हैं. सो क्वेश्चन मार्क को अक्सर प्रॉब्लम चाइल्ड भी बोला जाता है. ओके, क्वेश्चन मार्क इज एसेंशियली अ लो शेयर, लो मार्केट शेयर, हाई ग्रोथ इंडस्ट्री. इंडस्ट्री बहुत हाई ग्रो कर रहा है. लेट्स से online tuitions like Byju's etc. They are very high growth industry, but my company occupies a very low market share. Okay, I occupy only 2% market share. Other players in this industry occupy the remaining 98% market share, but it is deemed to be a very high growth industry, especially because of COVID and others, where people are by necessity not able to go to school etc. and they are having to study at home. So online tuitions and online web-based coaching has a very high growth rate, but I do not really occupy much. So that means क्या करना है इसके साथ, क्या पैसा बहुत खर्च करना पड़ेगा. ओके, प्रोडक्ट तो हाई ग्रोथ मार्केट के अंदर है, but I do not seem to have very high share of the market. So as an organization, as you know, in the boardroom, do I decide to pump in more money and try to get some market share from the others, or do I really, if I have idle cash lying, can I really buy one of the leading players in the market who is willing to sell? Okay, So I can have inorganic growth where I can take over or acquire another player. So if I'm really interested in this particular market, I can think of acquisition strategy. Or if I think that नहीं मेरा बहुत टफ कंपटीशन होगा और मेरे कोर कॉम्पिटेंसीज अच्छे नहीं है तो मुझे डाइवर्स करना है, तो हमेशा ये एक प्रॉब्लम चाइल्ड है। ओके, इस प्रॉब्लम चाइल्ड को अच्छा कोचिंग दिलवा के उसको अच्छा बनाना है, बाकी टॉपर्स के साथ compete करवाना है, कि इस प्रॉब्लम चाइल्ड को बोलना है कि पढ़ाई लिखाई बंद कर दो। ओके, एटसेट्रा। So these are some of the questions that need to be asked. As far as cash cow is concerned, cash cow represents a division which has a big market share in a low growth industry or a sector. Let's say suppose plastics का consumption लोग कम कर रहे हैं because of paper bags और biodegradable substances का packaging material ज़्यादा popular हो रहा है, तो कोई कंपनी जो plastics बनाता है, say Reliance Industries Limited, अभी Reliance Industries Limited has dominated the market share in the polymers business for the last so many decades in India, and in fact इस पर्टिकुलर बिजनेस का जो accrued profits है उसको यूज करके they have financed some of the other businesses of the organization, whether it is in the IT sector or whether it is in the retail sector and so on and so forth. Many of the businesses in the retail sector etc. have not started making profits, but petrochemicals business is a profitable venture of theirs. So possibly if as an organization I have a big market share in a low growth industry, but it is this particular organization because the industry is in a mature state and there are not going to be too many competitors who are going to basically eye my share of the market. So I can आराम से मैं बैठ के कोई promotion नहीं करके भी मैं आराम से उसका profits enjoy कर सकता हूँ. So it's going to be a consistent cash flows throughout its life देने वाला है, and this is I can simply do the milk वाला strategy, milking strategy. So एक गाय है जो बहुत दूध देती है और कोई और गाय उसके साथ compete नहीं कर सकता है, तो I am basically just trying to milk it, and वो extra cash जो देता है ये business without additional marketing efforts, उसको मैं use करके बाकी businesses जो शायद question mark है उसके अंदर पैसा डाल सकता हूँ, राइट, एंड सो ऑन, या स्टार्स को और ज्यादा मार्केटिंग एंड प्रमोशन करने के लिए मैं डाल सकता हूँ, राइट। देन वी हैव व्हाट इज नोन एज कैश काउ. नाउ नॉर्मली वी यूज इट एज अ मेटाफोर इन इंग्लिश आल्सो. ओके, सो मेरा अंकल जो है वो मेरा कैश काउ है, तो जब वो अंकल मरेंगे तब मैं मुझे उनका प्रॉपर्टी मिलेगा और मैं पूरा वो प्रॉपर्टी बेचने के बाद मैं पूरा मेरा नया बिजनेस के अंदर मैं पैसा डालने वाला हूँ. सो माय अंकल इज माय कैश काउ. तो कैश काउ को उस सेंस में बोला जाता है wherein something that has a lot of potential and it is unending source of cash or an unending source of revenue for me. For example, in the 1970s and 1980s, when Bajaj was making so much money of brands like Chetak, etc., they treated it like a cash cow, the automobile business, and they parked that extra money into financial services. And today they have a running business of insurance as a result of it. So essentially, people do use their cash flows from their existing cash cows or businesses that are high market share businesses, and they pump in that money into other businesses that they would like to build up over the future. Then coming to the other component of the BCG matrix, namely stars. So as the name suggests, star is something that has a high market share vis-a-vis competitors, as well as it is a very promising market. That means it's a high growth, high share market. So those divisions or those companies or those products with a high relative market share and a high industry growth rate, they obviously deserve substantial investment to maintain or strengthen their dominant positions. So as far as these strategies are concerned, we will take a look at what strategies people need to follow as far as stars are concerned, as far as cash cows are concerned, and so on and so forth. Moving on to dogs, as we have seen earlier, it is a low growth and low market share product. So obviously, Because of their weak internal as well as external position, dogs are essentially, most of the times they are either liquidated, that is they are sold off to any buyer who is interested, if at all, or they are divested, or they are trimmed down through retrenchment. So post liberalization, post 1991-92, when so many foreign players they came to compete in the Indian market, then many companies were saddled with products that obviously were existing low market share. Let's say Modi tires was not really as high market share as, let's say, MRF tires or an Apollo tires. So companies like these had to shut down because of labor problems. Nobody was willing to touch them also. So many of these plants, Dunlop or Modi tires, etc., many of these pre-liberalization brands, they fell by the wayside. Likewise, you also find that after the color TVs came into the market in the mid 1980s, many of the black and white TV brands like Dianora, Western, and Uptron, Keltron, etc., these products basically they had to be divested because they were barely any market share and in a but certain companies like Onida, etc., they were able to rebuild a new product life cycle, and they were able to reposition themselves in the new environment. So obviously, as far as strategies are concerned, let's take a look at some strategies that are advised based on the BCG model. So let's start with dog, which we have just discussed, the one on the right side bottom. So as the name suggests, it has a negative or a negative cash flow, and earning potential is also low or unstable, uncertain if at all. So obviously the strategy is to divest, to sell it off. Coming to question mark. Now question mark is neither here nor there. Question mark is something that is from a high growth rate category. So the industry in which it is a high growth industry. However, the relative market share is low. So the company has a low market share in a business which is a promising business. So do we really uh, what do we do? So the strategy is to analyze, is to probe further whether the business can be grown into a star. That means can we take it from the right quadrant to the left quadrant? Okay, so यहाँ से यहाँ लेके जा सकते हैं. For which do we need to invest in R&D? Do we need to acquire some new technology? Do we need to pump in more into the distribution network and blah blah blah? So those are going to be contextual situations. Coming to star. Star is something that is a high earner, stable, growing, and cash flow is neutral. So strategies invest for growth. So because it has a very high market growth potential, so I would like to ride the wave of growth, for which I would like to pump in more money. So it is a star. I have to keep my star well fed, well nourished. Okay. So obviously a lot of investment would be needed to keep a star in its own position. As far as cash flow is concerned, it of course belongs to a market which is a low growth market. So it's a mature market and so it's not a sunrise industry per se, but our company has a very relatively a high market share compared to competitors. So I can use the earnings of the cash flow. So strategy is milk it. That means use the cash to either resurrect the question marks or to pump in more into the stars. So this is as far as the portfolio analysis is concerned. Just a few examples of companies that can possibly put the existing products or the product mix into these categories. So on the slide we have Coca-Cola, where some of the high growth, high market share, Thumbs Up, etc., Kinley, the high market share but low growth is drinks like Coca-Cola, etc., cash cows. So Coca-Cola का जो revenue मिलता है, they can possibly invest in question marks. Okay, they can invest in question marks or they can invest in stars. Okay, so as far as question marks are concerned, Fanta, Sprite, etc., they represent uh, high growth rate possible businesses, but the company's market share in it is not very high. So possibly Mirinda does much better than Fanta, and so on and so forth. And some of the dogs are the Minute Maid product or the Diet Coke. Diet Coke almost sounds like an oxymoron, you know. So Coke is unhealthy, but diet suggests health, right? So whether to continue with it or whether we allowed the company to bleed because of the dog, and so on. Similarly, we can do the analysis for you know, a company like Adidas, let's say. So there are certain products of Adidas which are best sellers, okay, stars you could call them, okay, high market share in shoes, you know, and high market growth also, you know, fitness and gymming being in trend. As far as cash cows are concerned, apparel has always been its cash cow. So it enjoys a very high market share in it, but it may not be a very high growth industry because there are too many competitors. And question mark would be sports bags and you know, other equipment. And as far as dogs are concerned, you know, hats, eyewear, etc., are not necessarily, Adidas is not necessarily known as a player that, you know, is a mover and shaker in these products. Okay. As far as advantages of using the BCG model is concerned, so like Maslow's hierarchy, these kind of concepts or these kind of models have always been very popular as far as MBA students are concerned because it is simple and easy to understand. Okay, it doesn't require a very high level of complexity. It is easy to drive home the point, right? To a person who's uninitiated in marketing strategy and so on and so forth. It also helps to quickly screen the opportunities and so on and so forth. It is also used to identify how corporate cash resources can be utilized to maximize a company's future growth and profitability. So to that extent, the simplicity and ease of understanding is the main advantage of the BCG model or the BCG matrix. Coming to the disadvantages slash limitations of the model per se. Now, just because something is simple or simplistic does not mean that it is going to be applicable in all situations. So real world basically is full of complexity and ambiguity. So while to understand it theoretically, what exactly product portfolio analysis is all about, one can take it as a initiation into the concept. But once one takes up an actual real lived example of a company, then a lot of complexity will come in and it might not always be a strategic business unit the way the assumptions of the BCG matrix are, but the company might yet want to persist with it and so on. So since it uses only two dimensions, so it does not foreground complexity the way real life requires you to foreground complexity. So it only uses relative market share and market growth rate. So it's a growth share model. So market growth and market share दो ही चीजों को यूज करता है, बट रियल लाइफ के अंदर किसी कॉम्पिटिटर को एनालिसिस करने के लिए या मार्केट को एनालाइज करने के लिए दो से ज्यादा फैक्टर्स की आवश्यकता हो सकती है. उस केस में द बॉस्टन consultancy group model might be limited in its application. Also, the problems of getting data on market share and market growth, these are typically closely held data. So if you go to Coca-Cola and then you ask the executive key, you know, top executive, what is the share of Coca-Cola in terms of aerated drinks in India? So they will claim X, but Pepsi will claim, you know, Y. Now, X might be more than Y as far as Coca-Cola is concerned, and Y might be more than X as far as Pepsi is concerned. So as far as market share data is concerned, it is not very reliable, but one can look at various anecdotes or stories or dealer information, etc., to have an idea about कि कौन सा ज़्यादा चलता है. Like for example, if you are a person who wants to buy tires for your new car or your old car, and you go to a tire shop, okay, and you ask them कौन सा ज़्यादा चलता है, Now he might tell you that well Bridgestone ज़्यादा चलता है, somebody else might tell you that नहीं Michelin ज़्यादा चलता है, somebody might tell you that नहीं नहीं MRF बहुत अच्छा है, especially इस मॉडल के लिए MRF बहुत अच्छा चलता है, and so on. So you can hear different stories, and therefore the data on market share and market growth can be anecdotal at best, okay, and sketchy at worst. So obviously these are some of the limitations. Also, high market share does not necessarily mean profits all the time. Like for example, if you look at the global PC market, personal computers market, companies like HP, etc., they are HP, IBM, etc., they have been in the PC market for such a long time. But today, if you look at the ones that are really moving to the next level in the information technology growth phase, it is the Apples of the world. So Apple is not necessarily Macintosh did have a market in the PC market, but typically, though the others had a higher market share, does not mean that they are doing well in terms of revenue or profitability. So as far as uh, companies like Apple and others, they were okay, or Microsoft, they were okay with sacrificing market share in the PC market, and they looked at other product lines for shoring up their revenues and their profitability. So market share को primacy देता है BCG मॉडल, लेकिन market share necessarily market revenue या market profitability का कारण होगा, ये जरूरी नहीं. That is another limitation of the BCG model. Businesses with low market share can also be profitable. Okay, niche. अगर आप कोई niche को occupy करते हैं and you have a very lean organization and your costs are very low, you can have a pretty profitable business, and so therefore it tries to put all the eggs in the market share basket, which might be the limitation of the BCG model. So to summarize, BCG matrix model cannot assess complexities, that is interdependencies, benefits of niche product, advantages of differentiation, and key industry characteristics. To foreground all of these factors, we will also look at another competitive advantage model in our next lecture, which is basically on Porter's 5 forces model, which is also a very good strategic tool and which will possibly help us to understand some of these limitations, and based on these limitations we will be able to introduce a more broad-based analytical framework. Okay, so as far as today's lecture is concerned, that's it, and in the next lecture we'll be discussing Michael Porter's 5 forces model. Okay, that will be lecture number 9. Thank you.